What's going on, everybody? It's way too early, first of all.
It's not even early. This is all your fault. I just want you to know that.
This is my fault. I was supposed to wake up at 8:30 for this guy to come pick me up. He ended up coming into my room and waking me up for me at like 8:45. So...
Still too early.
It's
but
too
like
early.
everyone just wants to know, you know? What are we doing?
I forgot.
Are we getting breakfast out here? What's going on?
Basically, we're going on our first date. No.
Absolutely.
No, we're going to go pick up the S4 from 034 Motorsport. I got the motor mounts installed. I'll give you guys a rundown a little bit later on in the video of why I had them do it versus doing a little DIY myself. But thank you to Alex for giving me a ride. It's kind of hard to find someone to give you a ride really early in the morning to go pick up a car. But we are headed out to Fremont. There it is. There it is. A broken S4. So we got the car back, ready to take it for a test drive back home. Let's see what these new motor mounts are gonna feel like, because the old ones were definitely leaking and they were going out. Well, I can tell you that right when I started the car, I immediately noticed that the motor mounts had been replaced, because previously, whenever I'd start the car, it'd be like kind of like a little shake. So that was definitely something I noticed right away. And then also, while driving the car, every shift, whether I'm like really in the throttle or not, is super smooth. Like, this is how the car should have been, and I can't believe I let it go this long without motor mounts. So I can tell you the motor mounts made a huge difference in how the car, feels driving it. Overall, it's a lot smoother. There's a little bit less kind of drivetrain slop when you're just casually driving around the car, especially on the freeway as well. For like when you're slowing down for traffic and speeding back up, it's a lot more effortless shifts, I feel like, because the motor mounts were so worn out, they were causing a lot of slop and a lot of probably shake in the engine, creating kind of some negative movement that you don't want in there. And then adding these motor mounts really kind of returned back that like fresh feel that the engine should have. Another thing is when you are decelerating and accelerating a little bit more than casual driving with the shifts, when you're like doing multiple downshifts or shifting up pretty fast, the shifts are super crisp, like better than I've ever felt with this car, even when I first bought it like 3.5 years ago. So overall, the motor mounts were a solid upgrade, and I highly recommend them for anyone who hasn't changed their motor mounts. Generally, it's kind of hard to tell when it's time to change them. For me, I noticed that there was fluid leaking out of them, and I have the dynamic motor mounts. So I'm not sure every B8 has those, but generally a good rule of thumb is like 80 to 100,000 miles for these cars is kind of when I see the majority of them failing. So that's probably a good time to start looking into getting your motor mounts replaced. But overall, I think it was a solid upgrade, definitely worth the about $1,000 it's going to cost with the parts included for the 034 Motorsport mounts. And then definitely adding these and then those subframe mounts that I did in another video. These are the Drivetrain mounts, which is going to be the transmission and the differential inserts as well. So we're going to be throwing these in the car in the next week or so, and I'll be making a video on this. But basically the whole package is going to really kind of strengthen up the chassis for this car and the drivetrain and all that, and it's definitely going to be worth it for your B8 or B8.5 S4 S5. So the main reason why I didn't install the motor mounts myself was because of a couple different factors. One, I didn't really want to leave the car here at my house kind of up in the air working on it for the week or so that it might take me, just because I don't have a lot of time to invest like full days into working on the car. Another reason is I don't have a lift. So motor mounts is one of those jobs that is like 100 times easier if you have a lift, because not only are you working underneath the car for most of it, trying to lift the engine or stabilize the engine like while you're removing or lowering the subframe or loosening any of that stuff is going to be really difficult unless you have a lift to be able to go up and down to kind of work on the top by stabilizing the engine, going underneath, lowering that subframe, pulling those motor mounts out. And it just seemed like a really, really hard job to do on the ground. Kind of like a clutch. It's just stave your back, save hurting yourself, and just have a shop do it. So that's kind of what I did. It did cost a little bit of money, but it was definitely worth it, having the ease of mind, knowing that the professionals were doing it and that I was going to get my car back solid. So the motor mounts quotes, I believe it's like 4 to 6 hours to have them installed. So you can imagine what a normal shop would charge for that. So it would probably take me like 10 to 12 hours to do the motor mounts myself, and that would take me like a week to 2 weeks. So I'd rather just have it done, and that's why I gave it to 034. For those of you looking for a solid DIY, if you feel like you want to tackle this job on your own, I will go ahead and throw the DIY from Audi Zine down below in the description for you to check out in case you want to do the install yourself. So it's been a couple days with the motor mounts installed on the S4. I've been driving the car around quite a bit to kind of get used to them, to see how they feel on the road in different conditions, kind of upshifts, downshifts, some aggressive downshifts, aggressive upshifts, all that kind of stuff I threw at it just to kind of see how the car would react with those new motor mounts, and I can tell you that it is a huge difference. So these mounts are going to be something that's going to make your car just feel way better. It's going to make you way more connected with the drive experience that you're going to have with the car. I can tell you from my experience with having 107,000 miles on these stock mounts, it was definitely time to change them. When they took them out, they exploded and stuff like that. I'll throw some photos in here so you can check those out. But it was definitely time to change them. I should have changed them a lot earlier. The other ones on the market that I saw were kind of a more aftermarket design. They didn't retain the OEM design. But moving on to the next thing for the S4, when I was over at 034 picking up the car, we got a set of differential inserts. So this is going to be 4 inserts, I believe. Yeah, 4 inserts that are going to help stabilize that differential a lot more. And with the factory differential, the mounts that they have in there are, they have like a little void in them. So these inserts are going to help tremendously. As you could tell from the last video, if you watched it when I installed the subframe mounts, there was kind of a little bit of plastic mount that was inside the rubber mounts. So it kind of like went hand in hand with the 034 subframe mounts. It kind of just replaced those plastic ones. In this case, you'll see in the next video, there's nothing in there. So these are going to be a huge difference from the factory ones. So I'm really looking forward to installing these in the next couple days. But other than that, a little update on the S4. You can see it way back there. I just spent a couple hours yesterday kind of detailing it, cleaning it up, getting a lot of the ash and soot off from the fires that we've been having. Kind of prepping the car for something that is coming in next week. So that is going to be another really cool video that I'm super stoked to make. So that is going to be it for the video. Thank you all for watching. I will see you on the next one. Peace out.